Hey guys, we're Hayley and Jake. In this video, we're going to show you what it's like to work with pine tongue and groove as we finish our walls and build a bump out to fit a short queen widthwise in our Promaster. We chose pine tongue and groove because we really wanted a beachy look in the van and we're super happy with how it turned out. It's thin, lightweight, and flexible, which made it great for the build. The process of finishing off the ceiling and the walls took quite a few months, and we did it pretty early in the van build. So we're going to take you back to when the van looked very different and show you the process.
Okay, so we've got pretty much all of our ceiling up now, and we're starting to transition into the wall areas. So I'll go over our plan of attack for doing walls. We're planning on putting a box bench seat here that's also going to be a shower that folds up, so we're going to waterproof this whole wall here. So we're going to leave the tongue and groove here. Here there's going to be some kitchen cabinets, and we'll be putting tongue and groove on the wall here. We'll also be putting our pine tongue and groove around our window that we've cut out. So I'll just show you here. We want to maximize the amount of space that we have for sleeping. So we've got this little groove in our walls here. We're going to be doing a similar thing over on this side of the van. There's going to be cabinets the whole way along here, so we won't see any of that. And then this window here, we're going to make identical to this window here, so it's nice and symmetrical. And then here is where we're going to have our little kitchen area where we're going to have a backsplash, so we won't be putting tongue and groove in this little part here either. We've also been very painstakingly scraping some of our spray foam away so that it's nice and flat for our tongue and groove to sit up against. We cry a little bit every time we take a little bit of insulation away. So we're just working on the part of the ceiling that's going to be around our sliding door here. So we ran into an issue where this panel here was bowing a bit because of our solar cable. In hindsight, we probably should have put it in closer over here to avoid all this metal, but put it through here. So what we did was we notched out the ceiling panel here, and that seems to be making a difference. Bowing a lot less now, so hopefully that's the trick.
So we cut this with a jigsaw to get the contour, and now we need to go from here all the way to the anchor point there, but there isn't a very good anchor point, so we're just going to glue some of these on. This is going to go behind here, and it's going to be used to mount our outlets.
Delivery?
That looks awful, but...
How are you feeling?
Don't want to talk about it.
Here's what we're dealing with. So installing this part is probably the hardest part of working with the tongue and groove ceiling, getting this curve.
We also have some that aren't straight, which is we didn't notice earlier, which is making it a huge pain.
So the nice thing about working with the pine tongue and groove is that it's very thin and it's bendy, so we have that in our favor. The downside is that a lot of the planks have a little bit of a warp in them, which makes it really difficult to work with, especially when you're working on this part of the curve from the ceiling to the wall. I think we've done an awesome job. So here's what it looks like. This part here looks awful. However, we are putting a cabinet in here, so you're not going to see any of this, and then we'll probably put a backing in the cabinet. So we've accepted that that's going to look kind of ugly, but the main part is that over here looks nice, which is awesome. So this is what it's looking like so far. We will be putting a trim on the edge there, so the joins aren't the evenest, but we won't even see that. So we're going to go have a cup of tea, and then we'll come out and do the rest of it.
So we're in the process of putting the walls up in the van. It's coming along pretty well, but there's a couple areas that when we spray foamed, we felt there could be a little bit more around the windows and in some of the grooves. The reason we could use some more around the windows is because we spray foamed before we had our windows fully installed, and that was just because of how the timing worked out for us. So today we have everything covered off with the drop sheet. We're going to put some more spray foam up into some of these channels and around the window. And then we're going to let it set, trim it off, and then keep putting the walls up. So spray foam is kind of gross to work with. We're using window spray foam because it's low expansion. As a general rule of thumb, anything that's not covered is going to get spray foam on it because it'll sag down. Don't get on your skin, wear safety glasses, and make sure you have a lot of ventilation.
Gonna go to weed job. Gonna stop. If we can't live forever, we're gonna go to we drop.
Okay, we have the first batch of spray foam on. We're just gonna let it cure. Then we're going to pull the drop sheet under the window, foam at the bottom of the window, let that cure, and then we can get the walls up. Good morning. Yesterday, my dad and I got a good start at framing off the part around the window. It's been slow going, but we're gonna get at it again today. It's looking awesome so far. Let's get to it.
It's a small town jukebox, rock and roll. Yeah, like Coltrane playing when it hits your soul. Get the whole thing shaking when we hit the floor. Yeah, we're just getting started. Let's see where it goes. Harder than the summer.
Hey everyone! It's finally warm enough outside where we can start painting inside of the van, so this week I'm going to paint our bed and our walls. I'm also getting ready to sand the entire van, so I've started taping up all the walls so that I don't sand our ceiling and eventually so I don't paint things that I don't want to paint. So yeah, the van looks like a complete construction site right now, but we are making progress. Alright, I'm just about to get started priming. I'm using Bayer primer. Oh, you can't see, but I also have the sliding door open, and I'm gonna turn the fan on, so I'll have lots of ventilation in here, so don't worry, I'm not fuming myself in the back of the van. Good morning. I've been working on painting the walls here. It's been quite the process. Jake put up the walls and then I sanded them and then I primed them and then we picked our final wall color. We wanted to wait until we had our cabinets in so that we could use the cabinets, the ceiling, the floor, and then pick the wall color that we liked. So we've gone with this one. It's a linen white from Bayer. We sanded it at 120 grit. And then we applied our primer, and then we sanded at 240 grit, and then we applied our first layer of our final paint. And then I think I'm going to sand this one more time probably around 400 grit. I'll write a comment if I change that. And then we'll apply a final thin layer of paint. Working with the pine tongue and groove, it's quite difficult, especially in this window area. There was a lot of little holes and gaps in between all the planks. Over on this side though, there's quite a few big gaps. So I've got some wood filler down here. So I'm thinking I'm going to wood filler in these gaps here, and then that should make it look a lot nicer when we paint it. So I've wood fillered a lot of the wall. I let it dry for probably about half an hour, and now I'm going to sand it, and then I'll reprime those spots. So this is the wood filler that we're using for the walls. We've put it in all of the corners here and then along some of the gaps where we were seeing splitting in between the boards. But it has a latex formula, so we're hoping that it's a little bit more forgiving to vibrations and movement in the wood, and hopefully we don't see any splitting or cracking. But if we do, our backup plan is to use paintable silicone, like a latex silicone.
So overall, working with the pine tongue and groove, we're super happy with how it turned out. We love the way our walls look. It's exactly the look we wanted on the ceiling and the walls, and we love how everything's turned out. Working with it, the pine tongue and groove has been a bit challenging to work with. Because of how thin it is, it's fairly flexible, so it would bend around our spray foam if it wasn't completely flat, and the tongue can break pretty easily because it's a soft wood and it's very thin. We got the look we wanted and the space savings because it takes up only 1/4 inch of space on our ceiling and our walls, but the trade-off was it was pretty hard to install. So keep that in mind when you're using this. There are other options as well, and they all give you different looks, and they're all great for different applications.
Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.
Bye!